everyone. A very warm welcome again. My name is Joanna. I am the content marketing lead at the Female Factor, and I'm going to be moderating this session. And we have, as you can see, three amazing ladies panelists that are joining us today that are going to be answering your questions. In case you haven't attended the session today, also to the participants, I want to remind you that there is a software that we're using for all of your questions, and that is Slido, where you can put in the code, the female factor, and you can ask all of your questions in case there's something that you want to know from our participants. And it's also where we're going to be running live polls, and we're going to try to find out more about all of you. But before that, I would really want to pass on the mic to the ladies that are joining us today to give an intro to themselves, who they are, what they're currently doing. And yeah, 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗔𝗲𝗀, maybe do you want to start?
Hi, good evening, and thank you for having me.
Screen in the background?
I'm sorry.
Can
yes, Hannah? Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I hear you, but I hear another panel, I think, at the same time.
Do you think it's possible that you joined another panel and he's playing in the background? No worries. Yeah, in the meanwhile, I'm sorry, 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗔𝗲𝗀, if you want to continue, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, my name is 𝗂𝗂𝗧𝗔𝗲𝗀𝗁, and my aim today is to share some of my lessons learned and some parts of my journey in this impact entrepreneurship, long and steep journey. I am co-founder of Greenwell Energy, which is a green startup. We recycle oil and gas wells, and we make out of them renewable geothermal energy. But at the same time, I also am a startup coach and mentor, and I also help young women and girls to build their impact startups. And I can't let out not mentioning here that I am one of the co-founders of the Good Startup School. So we practically teach, not teach, but help young women and girls to this impact entrepreneurship journey. I'll have a chance to speak later, maybe longer, but I just wanted to say that I feel privileged to have had the chance to build a career and to pursue my goals that are deeply meaningful for myself or for others, developing ideas, making things better for me, for others, and making them happen if I set my mind to it.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for being with us today to share about that, because I think everybody that's joining us really wants to hear more about exactly this, making your goals happen and then making also something else happen for the world. Thank you for sharing. Hannah, can you hear us now?
Yes, I hear you.
Amazing.
I hope the connection is staying. I'm right now in stereo, and it's a little bit breaking off sometimes. But
yeah,
we'll be
we can hear you and see you well right now. So, do you want to maybe continue? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the invite. I feel very honored to speak with so many amazing women here on the panel. I'm Hannah. I'm CXO of Austrian Startups. We are trying to improve entrepreneurship and empower entrepreneurship all over Austria on different levels, on an educational level, on a community level, but also on a political level. And here, together with Markus Raunig, I'm kind of the operative lead of I'm also working on my own project, which is Refill, where we want to implement a circular system for takeaway packaging so that you don't have all the waste that comes along when you take out food or also coffee. Very excited to hear all your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. for sharing. Nina, do you want to continue?
Sure. Hi, also from my side. I'm super excited to be here today. It's interesting to be at a virtual conference. It's the first time for me, so I'm excited to experience that as well. So my name is Nina. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of a social business called More Than One Perspective. We are up and running since 2016 now, so it's our 4th year. Our mission is to support mainly highly skilled refugees and third country nationals to find jobs in Austria. But we also work on company sites and help people break down negative stereotypes. This year, we also started with 2 educational projects in schools to get more inclusive environments into school environments as well, which is quite exciting for us. Before that, I'm a business major, so I studied business before and then worked in consultancy, did an internship there, got quite frustrated, I guess, and then started working in the startup scene. And from there, I decided that I wanted to have something with a bit more purpose and became a 𝗵𝗺𝗏 fellow. So I taught at a school in Vienna for 2 years. And that was also my first contact with the social business scene. 𝗵𝗺𝗏 was quite new back then. And I didn't really hear much about social businesses back in my studies. It was quite a new field. I was talking to people, trying to, I don't know, get more information about what it all means, what it could be. So to form a social business, and I also found my 2 co-founders at 𝗵𝗺𝗏. And together as a team, we had the strength to actually get going and start that, I guess, quite bumpy and exciting journey at times. And the 3 of us, we grew from then to a team of 9. So it's been growing a bit. We changed offices. Quite a lot has happened, and I'm excited to share more later because I'm thinking that you're already watching your time and I have to stop now.
Thank you so much for all of your intros. I can already see that everybody's very excited. It's also a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, which is why I'm going to start with more of a general question that I'm guessing that you probably thought of a lot. How did you get inspired to actually go down this route? Because for some, it's a very specific niche, you know, growing a social impact business. And Hannah, would you maybe like to start? Tell us a bit about Refill. I think it's possible that you're muted because we cannot really hear you.
Now it should work. All these
Yes.
technical
No.
It was quite a journey for me. I started studying business right after high school, and also never really got in contact with any entrepreneurs, and definitely no social entrepreneurs. But actually, when I traveled to Australia, I first got into contact with the concept of social entrepreneurship and Googled social entrepreneurship Vienna and found the Impact Hub. And that's where I started volunteering and then just engaging and seeing all of the amazing people that are out there and that are actively using their business skills as well in order to create solutions to the world's biggest problems that deeper ecosystem. And then I just started volunteering a lot. So I joined the Students Innovation Center and I did my master's in the field of strategy and innovation. And then during my last semester, thought, okay, I learned so much now. Why not trying to implement this knowledge? And I had, together with my co-founders, the idea of reducing all the waste that lies around its campus from all the takeaway that was used there. And we started thinking of the concept where we can reduce this waste. And that's how the idea for Refill developed. But then I also wanted to give this knowledge further and to actually inspire more people, because I think there are many people out there that don't have the luxury to meet inspiring social entrepreneurs that's put them on this path. So that's why I joined, in order to really outside of our bubble and give many people the empowerment that they can actually start their own projects in order to find solutions to our world's problems.
That's great. Thank you so much. I think it's very telling that for a lot of people, starting a social business also relies a bit on personal experience and something that they saw they want to change. What do you latest think? How did it start for you? Sure.
For me, it was a bit different. I have had financial independence since I was very early, like 15, 16. It was not real entrepreneurship, but it was total financial independence. And I knew pretty much very early that making money or having a lot of money makes you happy, but making other people happy, makes you super, super happy. And I didn't know how to, I mean, it takes a bit of a while because last century, I was born in the last century. So making good was divided very clearly. There was companies who did profit and there were companies who did, organizations who did well, so did good. Good and well was not, was either or. Then I came to Austria like 14 years ago. It was, my first job was in a kind of environmental startup. And then I worked around the world for many years. And every time I came back to Vienna or to Austria at all, there was one thing I was very thankful for, very much thankful for. And most of the people living here took it as granted. It was drinking a glass of tap water. Drinking a glass of tap water is not granted everywhere in the world. So this is very small and it's so beautiful. This was first thing. Second thing, in one of my works abroad, I worked and lived different countries. The last one was 5 years, 2 years ago. And I collected batteries, a lot of batteries, old batteries. And then I asked there, how do you dispose batteries? And they said, yeah, in the bin. And I was like, no, you don't dispose batteries in the bin. Because I lived in 𝗵𝗺𝗃 before that, and we disposed 15 kinds of waste, 15. And I was like, no, you don't dispose batteries in the waste. And they were like, hey, this is a city of 5 million people. So if you don't dispose, 5 million minus 1, and I still couldn't dispose them in the waste. So I took them back to Austria and I disposed them in the proper places. This was my environmental, maybe awareness. And then the other part was when you work in so many countries, most of them are developing countries, you see that there are still around 1 billion people that are in total poverty. And on the same side, on the same time, there are around 1 billion people who have bullshit jobs. And I don't want you to have this bullshit job. So I was like, okay, I want to make something better. But there were no role models for me. I was born and grown in communism, and I had very powerful female role models, but not entrepreneurial role models. And I came to Austria and I still didn't have entrepreneurial role models, females. So, and having this entrepreneurial spirit on me, I said, okay, I'd like to also help others to become entrepreneurs or female entrepreneurs. Started with different like small businesses. Still today, we promote with our good startup school real innovative startup tech and non-tech ideas which are at least aligned with one of the SDGs. So good ideas. That's why good startup school. So yeah, I don't want you to have a bullshit job. I wanted to have my financial stability, and but still I wanted to make more people happy. So I think a combination between these three.
Well, that's all three great reasons. So good that they made up for something. Nina, how was it for you?
I mentioned before that I studied business, and there social business wasn't really part of my studies back then. There was a lot of entrepreneurship, and I had a really great course during my exchange semester in Stockholm, which was called Ideation, and an American professor who was like, there's good ideas, but any idea doesn't really work out if you're not good in implementing it. And that was something that was really inspiring for me, because I thought well, you need that one question that is really great, and then you can get going. I never thought that the idea might not be the most important part. And then after some years after my studies, I came to Teach for Austria, and there the inspiring person for me was the founder of Teach for Austria, Walter, who started the Teach for model in Austria. What is it now? I think 10 years almost ago. And from him, I was like, this is something really great. I mean, he started from scratch and it actually works. There are so many fellows teaching in different schools in Austria and actually changing the education system from within. And that's where I was like, okay, 2016, there were so many newcomers coming to Austria. A lot of things happened, but not everything was great. And with the background of my co-founders and I in business, it was very clear for us that we just wanted to build the bridge between the labor market and newcomers. And we also saw our strength in there, and we had an idea, but it changed 100 times since we started. And it's something not completely different, but quite different from where we started off. But yeah, that's a different story. So what really inspired me was actually a course in Stockholm, but also a founder of Teach for Austria. So that was my start, and then meeting my co-founders, because for me it wasn't a journey that I wanted to take only by myself, but with friends and colleagues that I enjoy working with.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I just want to remind also our participants that they can always hop on over to Slido to ask the questions. And something that we actually want to know right now is from where in the world people are tuning in. You probably heard in the intro from Tanya and Madis that there's ladies from everywhere in the world. So we have right now on Slido a poll running regarding your location. So you can feel free and tell us more about yourself over there. In the meanwhile, I actually want to continue with the question that not only we got asked, but that I know so many people want to know about. It was upvoted a lot. And that is, how do you in the end manage to find a balance between doing good, but also having a profitable business or profitable business model? Any of you that wants to get started, Astatila, for sure, if you want to tell us about it.
That should have been a last question because it's hard. But still, it's getting easier. It's getting easier because a lot of things are changing. For example, we see with Greenwell Energy, we recycle these old oil and gas wells. They've been there forever, but nobody has seen them. And when we started 2 years ago, everybody was like, it will not work. And we have seen a lot of change the last 2 years, that people got more interested. Climate, the planet A and the planet B talk has been taking another dimension, another importance. So it's getting easier. I see it like this. As I said before, last century it was hard because profit and purpose were exclusive, were mutually exclusive. So either you could do good, do well, so profit, companies, capitalism, or you could do good for the environment. And impact back then was a cost driver. So if you have impact, you'd have higher costs. That's why nobody wanted to do it. At the moment, they are either or. So you can do both. That's why we talk about social entrepreneurship. Actually, I believe it's not just social. The terminus social entrepreneurship is not enough. It should be impact entrepreneurship. That's why I use all the time social change and environmental justice. Both of them should go hand in hand. And the future, for sure, it will be both as well as. So we can't have the future without having both. So we have to do good and well. And it will get easier. It's still hard today, but who wants easy things? You know, I keep saying all the time to my startup school, to build an app is much easier than to change the world, but who wants the easy things, you know? So
that's very true. And I hope a lot of our participants also live with this idea of creating something that can do both well and good at the same time. Ladies, what do you think about it? How was it in your experience so far? Yeah, Nina, maybe you want to start, or Hannah?
I'll go. I don't know. I don't see your
Sure.
screens anymore, but just go. I think it's a super important question, and we actually just had the Stammtisch this week also concerning this topic, and the question was raised. And in the end, in the future, there won't be an either or anymore. There will be every startup, every company will have also to look at their social and environmental impact, because we can't have a future where these aspects are not covered. And right now, yes, it's hard. It's definitely harder to put the impact topic on the first spot. However, this is an investment that we are doing at the moment, which will pay off in the long term, because models, governments going to more and more tax non-sustainable behavior. So even if at the moment it might be harder to have a purely socially or environmentally focused business, this is what we will have in the future, and what will be the most profitable and successful use case from my point of view.
That's very true. Maybe thinking about the idea that there won't be a choice soon is something that can prompt more change.
There's not that much to add. It's super hard. It's still hard for us to be profitable. I think it's also 2 points. So first of all, I think when you start off, it's fine if you're not profitable. So many also for-profit businesses take years to have positive numbers. Growth just costs money. Generating or implementing an idea costs money. So if you start off and you don't have the perfect business model, that's fine. And then living in Austria, there is so many different funds and grant money that you can look into, which will support you to start off your business. So I think that's a great point to start. And then a question that we internally always discuss is it on the companies or private people that you generate profit from, or is it also the government? Because there is so many business to government contracts, especially in Austria with a strong social system. And then there is always the question mark, which isn't clear also in the definition of social businesses, at least from my standpoint. Please join the discussion here. That money that you receive from the government for a specific contract is profit as well. And this is a very valid point that you as a social business could look into.
That's very, very true. And something that I see a lot that is, of course, brought into the discussion regarding this is the financial aspect and trying to be profitable. One of the questions that we also got is, do you have any recommendations when it comes to selling or pitching a social business? Because everybody has the feel, of course, that it's harder to get investors, harder to get funding for something like that. Is there something that in your experience works better, can help with it?
I actually think, especially for if you apply for grants, there's now it's always a plus if you have a social or environmental impact. So always start with your why, and this is a very, very strong why, which everybody can follow.
That's true. It's something where probably making your why clear is way more important. Ladies, how was it in your experience? Do you have something that maybe worked or didn't work?
I think it doesn't change that much from a for-profit or for-profit. We are all for-profit in the end, but a social business, just know the person that you're pitching to. So we had some pitches to investors that were just not interested in social impact investing in the beginning of starting 𝗵𝗪, because we didn't know the scene, we didn't know who to talk to, we didn't know which different kinds of grant money, investment, whatever was out there. So it was a learning process of finding out who are the right people to talk to, and then just ask around and ask other people and experiences and which fields they're interested in, because somebody might be interested in the field of education, maybe not in the field of inclusion. So find the right people to talk to, and then just prepare your pitch like you would for any other idea that you want to pitch to somebody. Know what you're standing for, your why, how you're doing it, what you need the money for, what your goal is. And prepare, and be yourself when pitching your business, because your enthusiasm is in the end what people want to invest into.
It's very true, and a good lesson no matter the field you're pitching for. Acetyla, do you have anything to add to it, maybe from your experience?
I totally agree with Anna, with both Hannah and Nina. I want to add a very a small side detail. As an impact or purpose entrepreneur, we tend to forget money, right? Because we're doing good, so it's enough. And I think that's very, very important, is that you should have both. You should have an impact model, so doing good, and which makes you feel good. You help others, you make others super happy, and yourself super happy. But at the same time, you need this revenue model attached to it, because you can't have people working forever, you know? So you have to have a revenue model to also feel fulfilled because you are doing good, and also to have the sustainability, the financial sustainability. As I said, you can't have everybody work for free forever. And where these both meet, there is where this impact purpose entrepreneurship goes best. Yeah, we tend to get driven only by that, but money is very important. And there is a super sentence a very cool lady told me once. She said, if you want to make a lot of impact, you need a lot of money, and don't shame yourself to ask for a lot of money. Small impact, no money, a bit of money, but if you really need to change the world, you need a lot of money. And since then, I've been thinking more money, or more in this direction, because it's like you feel a bad person if you think money. On the other hand, all three of us are in this startup world pretty much involved, and you see these unicorns, you know, everybody's looking for unicorns, and they are everywhere, and they want to be everywhere, and they run pitching for money all the time. And you believe that you don't want to be a unicorn. And there is a solution. There is zebras. Well, unicorns don't exist, and unicorns are so rare because in reality don't exist. There are zebras. And I'm saying this on purpose because I am building the Zebras Unite chapter for Austria. And zebras are these real animals. They exist. They are black and white. They are for purpose and for profit. And they don't sacrifice one for the other. So, yeah, if it helps you better to be a zebra and ask for money and put your purpose first, the world is changing. A lot of investors are starting calling themselves impact investors, impact entrepreneurs, impact business angels. So the future hopefully is brighter. So, yeah, we need a lot of money to make a lot of impact.
That's true, and something to definitely remember. I just wanted to all let you know that according to our results that we just got in on our participants, we do have people from many places in the world right now. The most represented areas are, of course, Austria and Vienna, but also the UK, Romania, Belgium, Albania, and others. So I'm definitely glad to see that the topic of social impact is something that can gather an audience from everywhere. Something else that our participants asked, and they want to know the answer to, especially you know, when considering personal motivation in a field where money is scarce, where do you find, so to say, the courage or motivation to continue doing it, in spite of it being such a challenging field, or, you know, a place where it's harder to push for results? Hannah, maybe you want to start, talk about it. How
Sure.
was it for you in choosing this?
Definitely the community. So what I love about the entrepreneurship field, and even stronger in the social entrepreneurship field, is how open everybody is to support you or to. I started the feeling it's all very much on competition and there can only be one winner. However, what I've experienced within the last years is that through collaboration, through seeing where the synergies lie with other organizations that are going for a similar goal, we can actually achieve much more. And that's also what I see very strongly with Austrian startups, where people come together and look for this network, for people that can uplift them and they can learn from. And everybody loves to share his or her knowledge. It's funny, also both of the women that are in the room, I've talked to from in the very beginning of my going into the field, and I've looked up to, and it's very beautiful that it's all such an equal field. There, yeah, everybody's here to support each other, and maybe one thing to therefore tell the participants is that it's so important that you follow up. So if you meet a person that you think can help you further, or where you think there lies an opportunity, don't be afraid to ask them for help and to contact them, be it via LinkedIn or personally at the event, because everybody is really happy to help you and to connect you with someone and yeah, share knowledge. And you will be surprised by what can come out of a simple conversation.
That's true. And it's also honestly why we try to push as much as we do the idea of community and having people that lift you up, having people that you can learn from, because in the end, it's what can make the difference. How has it been for you, ladies? What do you think drives you forward in spite of challenges?
So for me, it is at 𝗵𝗀 we have very direct contact and impact on our participants. So we work very closely with refugees that have an academic background and third country nationals, and just working with them for months and then actually meeting them again after they started working for a company, being on a job for a couple of months, hearing how their German level improved. I don't know, I had a former alumni show me pictures of the Christmas party and how they celebrated Christmas at the company. It's just like seeing that change from a person that might have been a bit frustrated, not knowing how the next steps in life look like, to somebody who is just happy with, I don't know, having something to do with his or her life again is pretty amazing. So I don't need much more motivation than that. But also not only working with refugees or third country nationals, also working with companies and working with employees and having them meet our participants, talk about different stereotypes, and then get feedback on workshops and hearing how they might have changed a little bit their perspective on how you perceive integration or the topic of inclusion. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I enjoy going to work every day, and also having a team that you choose to work with and being motivated to actually change something is great. I think that the hard part there is to just say no sometimes, and then also know that is work time and that is time that you are not only your social business, but actually another person that has other needs and other things in life that are important to you. So I think that is more the difficulty in social business, because you burn so much mostly for your idea that you anyways love what you're doing, but then also being able to just say, okay, and now it's, I don't know, evening time, and I don't think about work anymore, but I actually do something else.
That's very true. Balance, no matter the business. Very important. Cecilia, do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, how do I do? I mean, it's not that you go to sleep and you say tomorrow morning I'll wake up a social or impact entrepreneur. You know, you are you're true to your purpose. I have the luck that I have found a mission that suits my talents and my passions. And I see myself as a very important, although alone, a very important part of this big puzzle, you know. And now we see with what's happening, everybody is talking about the COVID crisis, which is a real crisis, and everybody else is talking about the recession, the crisis that is coming. But nobody talks about the climate crisis. Still, we call it climate change. And change is good. So if climate is changing, then we're making something good, but we are not changing it for good. We are it's a huge crisis. So I think I start saying this since a while every day, climate crisis is a climate crisis. So I never say climate change. As I said, I'm true to what I think and what I believe. I have since a year, both my husband and I, we don't have a car. We've sold both our cars. And we pretty much live without cars in Vienna. I mean, okay, good. It's easy to say I live in Vienna without a car, but we could have lived in Vienna with 2 cars. So we go to ski without a car. We go by train. We are here in holiday in Burgenland, and we are without car. We have the bicycles and train. So, you know, you have to be true to what you believe, to the planet, to the environment, and to the people around you. And there will be a transition with a lot of people who say, I'll do this now. And if they do it as a purpose washing, then it will not work for long. But if you really believe it, that everybody of us has to play a very small role, a very minimum role, then I think we have still a chance to move it forward. So, yeah, so I wake up in the morning and I say, I'll be better than yesterday, not tomorrow I'll be a purpose entrepreneur. Something like that, I don't know.
That's very, very good advice. I want to also remind our participants that now being the very last few minutes of our session, they can officially also join the stage in case there's any questions that they want to ask directly to any of you. And while they're thinking about it, I want to also go with our last question, mine and my last question from Slido. And that is, what would be your #1 most important suggestion or tip to someone that's currently at the very early stage of growing a social impact business on actually making it? 𝗂𝗄𝗏, if you want to also continue and start with this.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you don't know where to start, but you still have this calling, you see, then start looking your community. There are a lot of problems in your community. Every change starts with the idea for one person in mind, and then gets developed and becomes a cool idea with an excellent team toward it. If you really, really still don't know where to start, then start at the SDGs. So look at the SDGs. The SDGs is a framework drawn by the United Nations a couple of years ago. And there are 17 goals, which everybody, each of us, and especially businesses, are called to support, achieve. And then search for a mission in life. You know, as I said, search what do you want to do? You want to have this bullshit job, having a job and get paid, or do you want to do more? You know, what's your role in this society, or in this small society where you are? Everything is possible. Sky is really the limit. So get this idea and get people involved. I know Nina explained before that one person started it. A lot of one persons. Every change starts with the idea of one person in his mind, and then involving great teams, excellent teams, and implement. So yeah, start with one small idea. So search a project or problem in your own community. Try to change. Sky's the limit. If you don't know where to start, look at the SDGs. If you still don't have an idea, then come to the Good Startup School. We'll help you build a startup, build a business model that can do good and well. And then join Zebras Unite Austria, which is soon coming.
Yeah, it's very good to know. And we actually got the question also that we didn't unfortunately get to on how to create the right business model for a social impact initiative. So I think everyone can also feel free to maybe connect with 𝗂𝗏 and learn more about the Good Startup School and how that can help. But how do you think, how was it for you ladies in the very early stages of you building your social business? What do you wish someone would have told you then? Nina, maybe you can get started.
it's not about something that somebody told us, but I think the most important step for us was to actually get started. So to get the idea out of our head into something more concrete. For us, it was finding 10 people with a refugee background and actually try doing the program in a first trial mode. And we were very open in communicating that this is the first time. We are not 100% sure if it is going to work out, but we're going to give our best to support those 10. And we had so many feedback rounds. We asked them after every training how they liked it, what they would improve, what else they would want to have in content. And then so it was really from, I don't know, we had the idea in our head for I think more than half a year. We had written it down. We had done the business model canvas several times. We weren't sure how the business model is going to look like. There were so many additional questions, but you can go rounds and rounds and rounds in your head again and again and again and never get started. And then for us, it was like, okay, now we either get started and actually try it out, or it's just going to stay on paper. And I think that was the most important step. And we were always like, maybe this is going to last for this one program and maybe it's not going to work out, but at least we're going to try out, experience a lot during that time, and then see how it's going to develop further. But just get going. I guess that was the most important part for us.
Well, first step is always starting, definitely. Hannah, what would you add to it?
I love the story that Nina just told, because it is the most important thing to not stay on the paper, but very, very quickly go out, talk to people, build a first very small prototype.
I think Hannah might be interrupting a bit.
Without any app or any.
Hannah, can you hear us?
Yes, was I gone?
Yes, you interrupted a bit. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yes. Keep it short. I can very much support what Nina just said, to go out quickly, talk to people, and build a very small, easy first prototype, and just try it out, because the market is the very best validation that you can get. Also, I think what I heard many times is, yeah, I have this great idea, but I can't tell you yet, because you might, or somebody might hear it and steal it. And this is just not the right approach, because you need to get your idea out there. You need to talk to people in order to see, is there a need for it? Do people someone else who is already, and that you will only learn if you share your idea. And don't be afraid that someone steals it, because nobody has all the thoughts that are behind the idea. And the idea, and Nina said that before as well, is not the most important part, it's the execution. And also, if you want to connect and share your ideas somewhere, Austrian Startups has so many possibilities for this. Female Factor is also such a good place to start. Just join the events. We're physically again. We also have a program, the Entrepreneurial Leadership Program, which will start again in September with the application phase, where we try to develop the entrepreneurial leaders of the future. I think all of these places are really, really good steps to start with your idea.
Definitely, I can completely agree.
I'd like to add a very last quote.
Yes,
I also
sure.
wrote it in the chat, but don't forget this ever. This is a female-only panel conference. There is a special place in heaven for women who help other women grow, rise, and shine. Women have been not doing this the last, I don't know, 7. It's time to change this game. Don't play this game anymore. So yes, you have to help others, and if they grow, rise, and shine, then you are super happy.
I can completely agree. And this is like, we rise by lifting others is of course also one of our mottos, something that we really stand by. And also because of this, of course, if you are interested in learning more about the female factor, the female factor community, how you can grow through it, Tanya is answering all of your questions in her corner, and you can basically find out whatever we were curious about. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wrap it up here, but I'm very happy with the thought that we ended on, with mutual support, and of course, working for something that does both well and good. We have some questions that unfortunately weren't answered, but I do urge all of you, the participants, to get in touch with each other, try to get in touch with our speakers here on Hopin, make use of the platform, and continue discussing these issues, because they're the issues that matter, that should be discussed. Thank you so much to our lovely ladies that were our panelists. It's definitely inspiring to hear from all of your experience and what you're doing, and I hope it will prompt so many other women of all ages to really try to do something similar. And yeah, right now I want to urge everyone to also jump all the way back to our main stage, because we're gonna be starting soon also with the closing words. And of course, after that, our networking hour, happy hour, we're gonna have live music, we're gonna have people also connecting with each other. So I think it's definitely a great place to be. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, everyone. And I hope you have a great evening where you remember some of the things that were discussed.